Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Mindful Morning with Dr. Matt. And I'm especially excited this week as we have special guest, Dr. Shaquala Reese. Dr. Shaquala Reese's passion for helping people feel better inside and out led her to found In Good Hands in 2013. She has over 10 years of experience in chiropractic care and over 20 years in muscle therapy. Dr. Shaquala Reese graduated from National University of Health Sciences Medical School in 2012 is a doctor of chiropractic. Dr. Shaquala Reese is always out there doing absolutely amazing things. I know working with the cryo doctors, with Dr. Rios, who was another previous guest here on the show. We've personally been able to connect here over the past year and just really, really appreciate your passion for life, for people, for caring professionals, and so on. And it's such an honor having you here today on the show. So, Dr. Reese, how are you doing today?
Good morning, Dr. Matt. Thank you for having me. I'm doing wonderful. I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you?
Excellent.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Well, today is the special eclipse day. And although I know that we're going to be posting this here next week, very
Mhm.
excited for everything that's going on. I know, some people are a little bit skeptical about what's going on celestially and so on, but it could be a little bit of a crazy day, but hoping for a good one here and excited to start my day here with you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thanks.
Absolutely. Well, wanted to gather from you, what was it that really brought you to the field? I know I just read your introduction a few moments ago, but you're somebody who exudes passion, somebody who loves helping other people, and just what was it that brought you here?
Well, that's a good question, Dr. Matt. I actually have wanted to be a doctor since I was 3 years old. Just always knew I had a heart to help people,
Mhm.
and that was my passion. That was my undergrad study. I kind of changed positions from wanting to be an OBGYN my entire life to kind of wanted to serve people without the need for managed healthcare. So I knew it would be something in private practice, and chiropractic was in perfect alignment with what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people in a holistic, alternative way without medication. And so that was the start of everything. Oh, goodness, like 20 something years ago. And again, before chiropractic, I started doing massage therapy and medical assistant just to get myself in that field. I'm originally from Indiana, so that's where I started pretty much everything. And then once I decided I was ready to go ahead and finish that doctorate, I moved here to Illinois, the Chicagoland area, to finish here, and just been in love with what I do ever since.
Absolutely. You've never looked back. And one of the common themes I've noticed, whether it's with you, some of the other guests who've been on the show, me personally, it's we've always had that passion. It's as though we were born that way. Like you said,
Yeah,
three, you knew you wanted to be a doctor. Like, what
hard
does
work.
it take for somebody to know they want to be a doctor at age 3 and being a doctor who's helping other people?
I don't know, just maybe an empath, maybe someone, again, a natural caregiver, and someone that I don't know, just always long to, help people be better or feel better. I'm still that way today, just kind of real, try to be inspirational, try to look at the bright side of things and help people get, from wherever they are in life or, in my field, in their chronic pain to at least a better place. So that I think that was just in me, one of my gifts from God, I guess.
Absolutely. And you know what I really love about this too is just you exude the passion. You're just seeing your eyes light up right now, the smile on your face as you're talking
Yeah.
about it. And it is so exciting to be out there, and being an agent of positive social change in whatever type of capacity. And you mentioned a moment ago, helping people work through chronic pain, wanting to be in private practice so that you can have the opportunity to work with people who don't necessarily have managed care. And as you know, when it comes to healthcare, it can be an uphill battle for a lot of people. Not everybody has a solid managed care plan. Some individuals are a little bit reluctant to go out and seek the help and so on. But here you are offering assistance in a variety of different capacities. So I'm wondering, in terms of like the diversity of your work that you're doing, what do you think is one of the overall messages that you're putting out there?
Well, overall, again, I tell people, your health is in good hands. And again, with managed healthcare across the board, it's sometimes a puzzle. We have to figure out what's the best combination of things to help our patients. And so, managed healthcare can be very helpful. But again, for some, it's, medication is not enough or it is no longer enough. Surgery is another option, and it helps sometimes it doesn't. But there's a place for all of that. And so I find that my particular practice fits in sometimes in the in between medication and surgery.
Mhm.
And then oftentimes it's on the other side of I've done all the things and I'm still not getting any relief. So it becomes a solution based. What can we do so that you don't have to live every day in pain or discomfort, or because that affects their emotional and mental quality of life. Honestly, chronic pain, it's not just physical. And I find that I have to deal with that aspect of the patient as well, the whole being. So, it brings me joy that I can see people that come in cringing and get to leave with a smile. They kind of get to, at
Mhm.
least have a moment of relief and hopefully some lasting relief too.
No, absolutely. And that's what I love with the work that you're doing here. And, my background, I started my clinical work at a methadone clinic, working
Yeah.
with clients, opioid use disorder. Ultimately, a lot of them were intravenous heroin users. And the story was the same from person to person. The hundreds of clients I've worked with, 95% of them plus all started with a prescription painkiller. And maybe that started off with something like Vicodin, maybe it was Percocet, Oxycontin, and so on. And from there, when they weren't appropriately titrated off, started escalating in terms of the opioids, getting stronger and stronger medications. And they started purchasing them, on the streets illicitly. And then they started using heroin. And the story, it was a very sad story. And for so many of them, it was a common theme that I wish I had known alternative ways to be able to feel better. And so, with that being said, I greatly value the work that you do and that I see you saving, dozens, hundreds, thousands of people, throughout their entire career could have otherwise, turned to these painkillers. And for those of them who do actually need these, who are requiring them, you could be a bridge that can help, calm things down a little bit, give them some natural relief so they don't have to go to the higher potency, so that they're not taking higher dosages and so on. So I truly admire your work there.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And that's the thing. Many people that come to me, many patients, they are in fear, in fact, of that, of the addiction, of the inability to let it go if they do start taking pain medication and what it could lead to. And so they're looking for some alternative, So a lot of them have done their research. And
Mhm.
so coming to me already knowing what they're seeking, but a lot of times it's just about putting together what works best for them. And again, it's not always about pain. Sometimes it's stress, emotional distress that we're dealing with, again, in a chiropractic clinic. But I am also trained in acupuncture. I also do other things, again, massage and, muscle release and things to kind of just get a balance in the body as a whole. And so I do think that we look down on a lot of people that have gotten into addiction to painkillers, but honestly, it's just about they were seeking relief like the rest of us. And did they find the help or the alternative before it was too late?
No, absolutely. And that's what's the most heartbreaking about it is people go in thinking they're getting the help, they're taking the medication as prescribed, again, thinking they're doing the right thing and maybe never even thought they had an addiction potential or anything like that in the past. And then suddenly, they end up with devastating results here. So again, I mean, the work that you're doing truly is impeccable and, life-saving for so many people. So I appreciate you doing that here. I remember being a younger man and, obviously over the years, you learn from experience, learn from, sharing stories with other people and so on. And I remember not necessarily being the most in tune with the mind, body, spirit pathway, that connection that you have here. And, I would laugh when I was younger, I'd be a little stressed out and you would have a friend who wanted to go into like kinesiology, massage therapy type of work and so on. And giving me a shoulder rub and, you got knots all over. You must be stressed out. I'm like, knots and
Mhm.
stress. I don't really get it. It's my body. How does this connect?
Right.
Kind of laugh it off, but as I got older and I started to actually go and get more frequent massages and so on, I would notice and I would be actually told, by the therapist that, oh, wow, you've got knots all all over. I'm feeling all the tension, all the stress in you. And it always corresponded with the times I was most stressed out each and every time. And I would get that massage that would hurt, but hurt so good, and ultimately I would feel the relief. And I swear, without doing anything additional to my mindset, I would feel relaxed not only for that day, the next day, for the rest of the week, and even, over the weeks to follow. So there's something strong to it. So I'm wondering from you, Dr. Reese, is how does it work?
Oh my goodness, that's one of my favorite things too. I'm so glad you asked that. We have to often, again, myself, I'll speak personally. I have to discern between is the stress in your body, is the knots, is the discomfort due to physical stress or overuse or a particular injury, or is it mental and emotional stress? I can actually feel the difference. And how it works is the body, again, the defense mechanisms when we are under stress, emotionally, our blood pressure raises, our shoulders heighten, our teeth cringe. Like we have all these physical signs that we're not even noticing we're doing. Our muscles tighten up. And so all of these different things are happening when we're under stress. And when we do not find a way to turn it off, because it's so hard to turn off that stress button, then it starts to manifest and rest in our body. And so that's when we feel it. Sometimes, again, people are hypertensive, they have indigestion, and then the type that I see, which is the physical stress. And yes, I can tell the difference in a knot in your shoulders, your neck, even your back, if it is stress related or if it's just due to something you do every day. So yeah, it rests there and you can get a release when we are able to, like again, during your massage or even an adjustment, able to get you to completely relax, focus on your breathing, kind of internalize the relaxation, then we can kind of get that muscle to release. There are toxins that are often held in there. So then once we get those things moving and pushed out, now the pain isn't there anymore. Now the knot or the discomfort gets to release. And you feel a lot better. How soon or how long does that last? It really depends on if you let that stress go, honestly, or if you change that pattern. But it is a moment of relief. It really works. So that was a great question.
Well, excellent. Hopefully, I have some more to follow here in a moment. But that's one of the things too that I think not everybody's really in tune with is that our bodies are constantly under stress. If you're alive, even when you're sleeping at night, your heart is
Mhm.
beating, you're breathing, you're under stress. But that's the other part of this too. I was recently speaking about post-traumatic stress disorder, acute stress reaction, and different types of things like that, and how people can, get to this different standpoint, and really it starts to build up over time. So the more stressed out that you are, you'll start to see the increase in cortisol, the adrenaline, activating, the sympathetic nervous system. And this is where you start to get worked up and you start to have all those physiological signs. And while that's good in the moment, for you to be able to have an acute reaction to things, over time it wears down on your immune system. You get sicker faster, stay that way longer. You have all these different types of aches and pains and so on. And it's very important that we pay attention to this, because when you're describing those symptoms earlier, these are the early warning signs I discuss with my clients. I'm like, well, okay, maybe you can't ascribe the thought, you don't know what the particular feeling is that led to this behavioral reaction that you're having. How about we start with the physiology? And a lot of it does start off, I'm clenching my teeth, my palms are sweaty, my hands are shaky, all these different types of things. But this differs from one person to the next because it's not the stressor itself. It's the way that one responds to it. And this is why some individuals can withstand, extreme stressors, while other people, it seems like the slightest thing is the final straw that breaks the camel's back. Trauma, stress, it's not about the stressor, it's about your interpretation of it. And that's why this type of help is ever so helpful. So, ready for the next big question?
Bring it.
What would you say was one of your biggest success stories? Like one in which you had a client who came into you, perhaps it seemed like a situation that was an uphill battle. I don't want to say hopeless because I'm not one, who believes in hopelessness in this type of situation, although I know some cases are certainly a lot more challenging than other ones. What would you say, like one of your biggest success stories out of the many I'm sure you've had?
Certainly. Actually, one of a long-term patient of mine, she began coming to me when her husband was deathly sick and he was on hospice. And again, she really didn't really find that she had the time to come and take care of herself, but she knew that she was having to lift him and move him around. So she just had this back pain and shoulder pain that was not releasing and it was making her life uncomfortable. And so we found some time for her to begin to come in. And I found that during these treatments, again, we were just treating the low back pain and the shoulder pain, but it began to become a point where she made it a part of her schedule and she looked forward to it because she got an emotional release. She got a chance to kind of let her hair down a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, since then, unfortunately, her husband has passed, but to this day, she still, even though her back pain is, minimized,
Mhm.
she comes to get the acupuncture to get that balance and release. She comes once a week when she is in acute stages. She comes twice a week
Mhm.
so that she knows she can knock that right on out of there. And again, this was someone I say I probably treated over 10 people in her family. So it was a family referral. That's how a lot of people come to me. But she has and is still one of my most consistent patients and realizes the value and the peace that the treatments bring her. And when she gets too far away from that, when she lets life get in the way again, the pain subside. I mean, the pain, comes back again. And so she's like, this is a part of my treatment plan, no matter what I'm going through health wise or in my day, in my life and day to day. This is a part of what I need to stay well. And so again, I found, and I tell a lot of people, this is not just about treating your sickness or your um, acute symptoms and, it's back pain or my shoulder hurts or I'm having headaches. It's about contributing to your wellness overall. So if you don't have to come and see me all the time. I'm really not that type of chiropractor, but overall, this is something that can keep you well and you've got a set of eyes on you all the time that is watching if anything else is developing with you. So I love that part. But yeah, it's a lot of success stories just like that where they come to you for one thing and then it becomes pretty much a relationship. You don't have to see your primary every month or
Mhm.
but just that once a month treatment, we get to stay on top of anything health related and it brings me a lot of joy, just as much joy and relief as it brings the patients. I love seeing them transform and look forward to coming and leaving smiling. Like I know myself and my team, we're doing what we're supposed to do.
Absolutely need to say I love seeing them leave smiling. You're smiling as you say that. Again, exuding that passion, and everything that you just described here over the past several moments, connects the mind, body, spirit connection. Mind, unfortunately, Leigh was going through an anticipatory grieving process, with her husband, in hospice, and then grieving after his pass ultimately. In terms of the body, the physical exertion of helping move him around and so on is taxing on the body. And then spiritually, we know when it comes to our mortality, the loss of loved ones, facing our own mortality, and so on. It's a lot of spiritual questions that really, we start to ask ourselves here and so on. So at this point, really being able to help her out in every one of those facets here by coming in and being able to see you. So I truly do admire that. Now I have another question. It's a technical one. So I think that massage, what you do as a chiropractor, probably a little bit more understood by a lot of people than necessarily acupuncture. How does acupuncture work? And you're putting needles on people's back, their foreheads, and so on. I know before I ever went to have acupuncture done, I was a little bit skeptical as to what it would be like. I'm like, how is this going to work? Now I'll say ultimately it did for me, but how?
Well, yes. Okay, that's a great question. Acupuncture, of course, is Eastern medicine, traditional Chinese medicine that's been around for thousands and thousands of years. So a lot longer than medication and Western medicine. And the purpose, I guess, or the explanation of acupuncture is creating balance. So you have course, the symbol, the yin and the yang. So that's areas of excess versus areas of lacking or deficient. You have the hot, which are those areas that are inflamed, intense, painful, swollen. And then you have the cold, those areas that are lacking, that are undernourished, that are underperforming. So we want to, with acupuncture, first of all, create a balance of the areas of yin and yang in the body. So the points that we use specifically in acupuncture, a lot of them are balancing points. That's what I call them. But they are going to create balance. And to me, it's 5 key points. But again, there are thousands of points throughout the body. We call them meridians. But when I get those balancing points into play, it doesn't matter what you have going on. Again, we're trying to bring into those areas of excess. We want to flush out the toxins, flush out inflammation, and bring in the body's natural healing mechanisms. On the opposite end, when we again are bringing that continuum in with acupuncture, we are flooding the areas of lack and excess with nutrients and energy so that they become stimulated again and can function properly. So that's the balance of acupuncture, whether the small needles are inserted at the head or the toe or, in any other body part. I do ears as well for PTSD and a lot of emotional and stress. I use the ear points, but any of those areas that the needle is in, it's not always local to where the pain is. You can do it in areas of painful segments, but again, that's what it's all about, is creating that balance. My top conditions for acupuncture are sciatic. Honestly, sciatic is when you have numbness or weakness or throbbing pain coming from the lower back and glute, and then going down your leg or both legs. It's usually due to nerve impingement. So again, we're taking that swollen area and releasing. I also like to use it for headaches. I love using it for stress. One of my big things I like to use it for. PTSD, I used to do it on veterans throughout my residency and still do it today. But that's one that it kind of helps relieve the episodes and the symptoms that are associated with it. So not necessarily relieving the condition, but again, with something like PTSD, it's whatever efforts we can do to combat the daily battles and the daily stressors that they have going on is a win there. So yeah. Oh, and arthritis, knees, joints, like those are areas I can't rub. I maybe can adjust them, but when we have people with knee injuries or arthritis in the knees and hips, acupuncture works wonderfully, again flushing out all that bad stuff and bringing in the healing. So I use it's
need that for my knees.
oh my gosh, it's so good. Knees are so good. Honestly, I'm working on or planning to set up a clinic with my church, just to kind of bring some natural relief. Everybody kind of suffers from that. So I want to see if we can do it on a greater scale and help people that don't always have access to me in my clinic. But I love acupuncture. I probably do it on 75% of my patients, whether they believe they have a fear of needles or not. It's literally painless, and you get up with such long-lasting results.
Yeah, it's a lot different than getting an inoculation or drawing blood or anything like that. I was very surprised. I didn't even feel them go in, to be completely honest with you, and felt some relief. But you've got my interest here with the knees. And what I like about this conversation too is I think that we're building on something holistic. We talk a lot about holistic healthcare. Again, that mind, body, spirit connection, trying to get everything flowing, circulating, in a healthy type of direction here. Now, a few moments ago, you were talking about the relationship, the therapeutic relationship. You had success, with your client, one of many. I'm sure you have numerous stories that you could share, and then you get referrals. People are coming in to see you. A lot of your clients are in a difficult type of situation in life and so on. And although I'm a therapist and I know, I'm the mental health counselor and you do chiropractic type of work, there are a lot of those job roles that kind of almost double like a pseudo therapist. And
Come
I'm
on.
envisioning that while you're working with some of your clients or patients, you're probably having some pseudo therapeutic conversations. And I'm wondering, do you have anything like that you could speak to?
Absolutely. Honestly, I can't say that there is any conversations that I have with my patients or consultations that don't involve like a mental health aspect.
Mhm.
It's like, oh, how are you feeling? And then let's talk about how you're doing. And sometimes I don't even have to ask. As soon as they get on that table, they like to release. Um, I do let them know emphatically that I am not a mental health professional. And then even though we can talk and share with one another, that I recommend mental health and therapy to literally all of my patients. I just think it's important. It's going to help give them perspective. It's going to help give them coping mechanisms to deal with their stress. Because again, I'm dealing with two different types of stress that are manifesting physically. So I want to get them to the person that can help them deal with that mental health aspect. So I absolutely love what you do. I have several therapists as well as doctors that I refer my patients to, um, just so they have an option. Again, a lot of people come to me cash service, some come with me for insurance, and I'm like, you need to use these benefits as a whole. To keep you well, because sometimes it's their job that keeps them stressed. Sometimes it's their family and the roles and responsibilities of maintaining the family or just life overall. And so I think when someone has that wellness mindset and we get in those conversations about how are you doing, that they're open to getting help on both sides. So yeah, they try to make me a counselor, but I take off that hat because like I don't have all the answers. I'm figuring it out and talking to my therapist too. So
Well, absolutely. Well, and that's one of the funny things too about being in my role as a counselor. Although I'm not a nutritionist, dietitian, we're talking about those subjects. Although I'm not a massage therapist, acupuncture, we're talking about those types of subjects. I'm helping people with career. I'm helping people figure out how to get a new home. I'm helping people enroll in school. So we do wear many hats, but as you said, give that little disclaimer. I'm the expert in this, not necessarily at this. However, it's important to think about how everything ties in together. Now, I know before we ended up meeting here for this podcast, we were talking about some different topics to mention in here. And one was caring for the caring professionals. So, in a way, it's like me caring for you, you caring for me, us caring for other people who do what we do, and so on. Why is it so important that caring professionals, helping professionals, medical professionals, anybody who's in some type of service position that's aiding others, that they come and see you for support?
That's a great question. You're right. We do talk a lot about this between you and I, but in my clinic, like I take care of so many business owners and providers and healthcare professionals. And I just find that often um, we neglect ourselves the most because we're busy taking care of everyone else.
Doctors are the worst patients, as they say,
That
right?
the worst. You hear me? Okay, so we do a lot of exerting, but we don't take the time to impact ourselves and kind of take off that hat sometimes. We just get up and keep going again. And so I started off, oh gosh, in my chiropractic career, like I started off taking care of like barbers and hairdressers. Like that was a big start for me. They kind of launched me in, and I probably got like 15 to 20 at one time. But what I found was they may or may not have had adequate insurance, but they had these physical stresses and the stress of being a business owner. And so I was a doctor, again, with they, not necessarily having any serious health conditions that they could come to and release and relax. And then I started meeting physicians through referrals, et cetera, and I became the doctor's doctor. I had to take care of a lot of physicians. Yeah,
Doctor's doctor, nice.
doctor. And so it was like, yeah, that those doctors again, once they experience the different kind of wellness care that we offer, began referring their patients because they're like, this has to be a part of the paradigm of the wellness vision. And we know that integrated medicine is everywhere now. It's not just one thing that our patients need. And so that began the start of it. And then I found like through time and just my experience and practice, it was just a lot of people as we age, we're reaching, our middle age. I know I am, my birthday's Saturday, but like we're beginning to take care of our parents. So we're shifting from being caregivers and being parents and taking care of our households to now coming back in and taking care of our parents. I have people, so if it's even not in your profession to do that, it's still that's the role that so many of us wear, and we feel like that's what we have to do. We're responsible for others, but who's really taking care of you? Who's really helping you? Well, until you have something serious happen to you, a serious health condition or medical incident, what's really going to make you stop, and so when I get the opportunity to be in those settings and help people that are caregivers, again, to other individuals or in a work capacity, service providers, they find that, I can get some relief. And even if they're like, oh, nothing hurts, nothing's wrong, but just that moment in time where we can give them the opportunity to relax and release, they have a new armor to take out into the world. And, now they feel revived and replenished and can go back and do what they need to do. And sometimes they can alter the way they're doing it to preserve that, which is, you know,
No, absolutely. And, as I say, self-care is selfless. I mean, you can't continue pouring out of an empty cup. You can't
come on.
drive 100 miles with a gas tank that's on empty. Any type of metaphor you want to throw at this, it's ever so true. I mean, to be fully present, to do your work in an optimal type of fashion, you have to take care of yourself. And sometimes that requires enlisting somebody else to provide you that type of support, somebody like to be able to continue moving forward. And it really is what we need. And even when we talk about, ethical codes and so on for the mental health profession, part of it that's tied in there is that of self-care. You have to be balanced to be able to support somebody else. I mean, it's ever so true. And I continue going back, and my students laugh at this story, about how when I was a field experience student, I was in my internship, was burning the candle at both ends, sleeping about 3.5 to 4 hours a day. Just trying to get by with a 10-hour day job, plus my
Yeah.
internship, my schoolwork, and so on. I remember I was sitting in a one-on-one session with the client, and we were talking about self-care. My client was burning out from life, work, everything that was going on. And while I'm sitting there trying to encourage my client, my eyes are red. I'm like looking exhausted. I'm having a hard time functioning. It's like about
Yeah.
8:30 at night. The client looks at me. It's like, I hate to call this out, Matt, but you look like you could use some self-care right now. And it
Yeah.
really hit me. I'm like, well, even now my client is calling this out on me. And that was a turning point. I did go ahead and adjust my life from there, saw a counselor, made sure I was getting sleep, taking days off, and so on. It really makes a big difference. But Dr. Reese, I do want to be mindful of your time, as I know you've got a lot going on here today. We got, like I said, this wild day here going on otherwise. So I was wondering if you had something that you would like to share kind of as an end note for our listeners here that you think is important with the work that you do or otherwise.
I guess as an end all, I just want to encourage everyone, young and old, professional or student, just to take some time to take care of yourself. Again, the I guess generalization of what we do as chiropractors, or most chiropractors do, is only in, post injury or back pain or one of the such. But again, whether you come see me or you're seeing a mental health professional, or you
Combination
make,
of both.
we need a little bit of both,
Mhm.
honestly. I do. And so I just want to encourage you to listen to the signs of your body. But even if there aren't any signs, just take a moment to take care of yourself. Self-care is priceless. And it's not just about things that enhance your physical appearance. We need things that enhance our inner being and keep us well and keep us healthy, and make us better people in the world, in our job, and to our families. And so if we start there, and again, I would love to be a part of that, but even if not, I would love to empower you and give you any knowledge you need to be able to do that. And then we as medical professionals continue to work with each other. Hey, I want to send you all the people and give them all the tools they need to be healthy and well mentally.
Absolutely. Well, I think that that's an excellent takeaway for everybody here. Again, spreading the word about the benefit of the services that we do offer, and this can be something really for anybody. You don't need to wait till the bottom falls out to come and see a professional. Even a routine, type of checkup, like you go in, you take care of your car, you get the oil change, a filter change, top off your tires, rotate them, and so on. We need to do that for ourselves, and we need to do a much better job with that. And also realizing that there are various options that are out there. And again, I know, the cost of healthcare, can be pretty expensive and intimidating, but there are also affordable options that are out there. But no matter what, making sure that you're listening to yourself, you're getting the help that you need when you need it, really paying attention to those warning signs. And a lot of them do start with the physiologicals we described here a bit earlier. Well, as we conclude, I'm wondering what is the best way for our listeners to be able to contact you, Dr. Reese?
All right. Well, my office is in Lombard, Illinois, and so you can go online. Our website is askdrreese.com. That is also my Instagram handle, Ask Dr. Reese, and you can find me on Facebook under Dr. Shaquala Reese. But I'm very accessible. Call me if you have any simple questions, or stop by and just say hello. We'd love to help you.
That
Thank you.
sounds great. Yes, and thank you, Dr. Reese. I truly appreciate our time here together. I hope that our listeners do here as well. And we're going to continue, doing the work that we do, fighting the good fight, and so on, helping people as much as we can. So thank you so much here for your time today, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, week, and so on. Take
You
care.
too. Thank you. Thank you all. Bye bye.